Hey everyone, here we have the Bosch VeroCafe 800 series super automatic coffee maker. Now I apologize, this is a long overdue review. I was burning through super automatic coffee makers trying to find the best one. Still trying to find it, by the way. But nevertheless, we are finally going to be talking about this Bosch to find out if it's any good and if you should buy one yourself. Hey everyone, really quick, this is an unsponsored, unpaid for review. That means we bought this Bosch with our own money. We do that so we can give you a truthful, non-BS review. So please hit that like and subscribe button as we release content weekly. Now a couple of quick facts out of the way. This is the Bosch VeroCafe 800, as I said, but it is branded as a Siemens product in Europe. Siemens. The 800 series is going to be their top of the line product. Basically, that allows you to have like Wi-Fi built in, a bigger screen, up to 36 different beverages, which is ridiculous, and a lot of them overlap. I'll get into that in a moment. But then ultimately, it does share a lot of features with its cheaper brothers and sisters. So things like the Aroma Select and the built-in coffee carafe, all that stuff, that comes standard on the other ones as well, but this one just sort of, ups the ante a little bit. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to watch the whole video, I'll just go ahead and say it. It does produce a very good cup of coffee, but I don't think that you should buy one. And the reason why is because when you compare the build quality features and overall design to, like, let's say the KitchenAid KF7, the KitchenAid beats it full stop. It's just a better thought out machine. This one does produce a better cup of coffee. That said, it has cheap materials, it has a lot of gimmicks, and I just don't think that it necessarily has anything special going for it, which should make you buy this over the KitchenAid for damn near twice the price. I mean, this thing is coming in at like $1,700. That is an excruciating a lot of money. I mean, for that money, you should just get like a Jura or something like that. And admittedly, a Jura requires a lot more maintenance and you have to like send it back, and it's like a whole thing. I get that. But I just feel like this thing is so grossly overpriced for what you get. And as a result, that's why I don't recommend it. But let's go ahead and just break down a few things here. And you can decide for yourself if you think I'm wrong and if you want to get one anyway. All right, so at the top here, we have the bean carafe. Now, unlike the KitchenAid KF7, it doesn't have like a removable bean tray or something like that. I thought that that feature was really clever in case you have some weirdo in your family that wants to put like flavored beans in it. But no, Bosch pretty much says you get one type of bean and that's it. Loading this thing is a pain in the ass. You definitely find yourself, especially if this thing is like, let's say, underneath a set of cabinets, they put the coffee bean holder all the way in the back of the machine. So you have to sort of like drag the thing out from underneath your cabinets. And then they made it like really shallow with this very like intrusive cage on it. So you will inevitably find yourself spilling beans all fucking over the place when you try to fill this thing up. That's really, really annoying. The lid does not seal as well as it does on the KitchenAid KF7 either. It does have a little silicone lid in there to kind of like keep air out. It's just not as airtight, and I can all but guarantee the beans will go stale faster than they do on other machines. There is one little fun thing, however, and it does give you like a little cheat sheet on how you should set your grind levels, depending on like whether you have like medium roast, dark roast, etc. And you can adjust the grinder up here at the top. There's like a little knob thing here that you can change the grind levels for. Bosch claims that it is a ceramic grinder. I think that the whole thing just sort of looks and feels cheap as well. Like basically this little knob here, it doesn't really click, doesn't have a lot of good tactile feedback. It just kind of feels clunky and chunky and loose, and I don't like it. There's really nothing I can give Bosch with the bean hopper. All right, now let's talk about the water tank for a moment. As is most automatics, it has the water tank on the side here. It has like a little lid on the top that you can pop off and you can refill it pretty easily. And by all accounts, this thing is a swimming pool. It holds like 400 gallons of water. If you fill this thing to the top, you can probably go, I would say, at least a few days to a week without having to refill it, and that's pretty nice. You do have the brew head unit that is on basically the panel inside of the water tank. So you do have to remove the water tank in order to get to the brew head. But that's not something that is necessarily limited to the Bosch, and that's somewhat of a commonplace with other super automatics out there. Something I wanted to cover in the original edit, but forgot to. Maintenance on it is actually a breeze, and it looks to be fairly intelligently designed. Basically, you can flick this switch to unlock it. It pops out in place, and then you can, from there, you can, clean it, in the sink. I don't think it's dishwasher friendly like it is on the DeLonghi's, but nevertheless, it's pretty easy. It's a very simplified looking, simplified looking design. So getting into the crevices and cracks and things to really get it, get it clean, I think should be pretty straightforward. There is one kind of interesting thing though. And once again, this unit only produces what I'm pretty sure is 1 ounce pucks. But if you see where it actually produces the coffee grind, that is a huge, cavernous amount of space. So why can't you do 2 ounce pucks in there? I don't really get that. It seems to me like it was like they designed it to be able to maybe do it and then just chose not to let it happen in the software or something. A little bit weird, but anyway, I thought I should point that out. You then have the milk carafe. This thing is also fairly standard across the board with DeLonghi and KitchenAid. Basically, most of these super automatic coffee machine makers are allowing a little external milk carafe. That way you can fill the thing up, pop it in place when you want a milk-based drink, and then when you don't, you easily pop it off and store it in the fridge. All is to say is that it works very well and pops off easily, has a little clean option in the menu, and there really should be no complaints there. I suppose if you want to get into it a little bit, I believe it's, the Aleda Explorer offers 2 milk carafes in case you want to have cow milk and non-cow milk. This one only comes with 1, which while we're on the subject of Bosch being cheap as hell for $1,700, this thing has the option to brew a pot of coffee. Now, most super automatic coffee makers don't brew a traditional pot of coffee. They would, or an American style drip coffee. What they do is they basically create an Americano and through some gimmicks kind of make it a little bit more like a drip, but it really isn't. And this thing is no different. What this thing will try to do though, however, is slow down the speed of brewing. And it does even also have a slow brew method, which I have not found changes the taste of the coffee. But with that said, you do have the ability to have a closer related drip coffee than you do in a traditional Americano. The thing is that the coffee pot that it is advertised to be able to work very well with is not included for your $1,700. So now you have to go out and buy another $70 item to brew a pot of coffee that it claims that it can do in its marketing material, of which, by the way, last I checked, that thing was out of stock anyway. But point is that you have to spend more money than just your $1,700 in order to get a feature that it advertises. And that's really annoying. Anytime a company does that shit, it just really pisses me off. It's how really Bosch, it's gotta be what, a $5 item that you're printing from AliExpress? I mean, come on, whatever. Anyway, that's not a deal breaker, but at least worth mentioning. Get to the menu here. Advertises that it has 36 different kinds of beverages. You have a favorites, a classics, and a coffee world. The coffee world option is basically the more bespoke things. Here you've got a red eye, a cortado, an Americano, cafe au, some of these things. Where it's a little bit curious to me is that you've got a cortado drink in here, and then you also have a latte macchiato in the classics option. Here, I'll just kind of spin through the menu here. I'll get some B-roll of what it looks like kind of browsing through the menu. It claims that there is a difference in the drinks. Basically, it gives you a little explanation of it, which I actually think is kind of fun. So if you click on cortado and you hit the little Colombian specialty coffee thing, it gives you a little rundown here. A Colombian specialty, a strong ristretto meets equal amounts of hot milk in the South America coffee specialty. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, I have noticed that the brew process for this and a couple of other drinks are basically identical. So there are some methods of brewing coffee where you put the milk in first and then brew the espresso shot into that, or you brew the espresso first and then put the milk in that. You have equal parts milk, you have a little bit of more milk than you would coffee, or you have more coffee than you would milk. You can adjust those settings in your latte option as well. But what I'm getting at here is that a lot of these drinks seem to do the exact same thing. So you're basically, your 36 drink option is only there to serve to muddy up the UI and confuse most normal users. Because I can't help but feel like if you're somebody that has like a real specialty drink, like let's say the Cortado, you may be the kind of person that wants to brew your own coffee manually anyway. I don't know, maybe not, maybe that's just me, I'm not sure. Whatever, it has 36 drinks and a lot of them seem to blend together. While we're on the subject here, in terms of its strength, I think that this does a 1 ounce puck. I'm going to weigh it on a coffee scale outside of my office because I don't have a kitchen scale with me here right now. But when you adjust the strength in any of the coffee drinks, what it does is it allows you to do basically a single shot, a double shot, and then slightly adjust the volume of the puck. I believe the max volume, again, of the puck is 1 ounce. Anyway, on here you can do strong. If you hit the other, why is this thing being so frustrating? If you hit like extra strong, in some of the drinks, it will either change it to a double shot or a triple shot. That, of course, does make it take quite an enormous amount of time to brew your different coffees. Cup size, of course, is the water volume, so right now it's set to 8, but I mean, is it like you're seeing me hit this thing and it's just not responding? This is about as annoying as it gets. It does seem to do a fairly good job about weighing out the volume of your water. And then subsequently the strength of the coffee, especially if you're doing like, let's say a double or a triple shot. So if you have a favorite mug or glass or whatever that you always use, you can pretty much count on it being consistent with the amount of bean to water volume that it's brewing. And that at least is a nice touch there. On some of the drinks, you have the option to change the aroma. Let's go ahead and go to the coffee one because I believe that's one that has it. Right here you have 3 options. You have mild, balanced, and distinctive. And these VeroCafe units come with what's referred to as like I think it's called like an aroma select feature. And what it seems to me that changes is the water flow rate, the temperature, and the extraction and pre-extraction time. So it supposedly will change the aroma in the cup of coffee, but it does not impact the strength. So in other words, if you're somebody that likes to have a more mild smelling cup of coffee, but you like to have the full octane triple espresso in it, you can do that. Or if you're somebody that likes to have like the most wildest smelling coffee out there and only 1 shot, you can do that as well. I personally find that to be a little gimmicky. I don't understand why somebody would want to change the aroma of their coffee. And if their goal is in fact to just allow you to have a distinction between your extraction times, the temperature, and the flow rate, well then you should be putting that on the screen instead of something weird like aroma. You should be giving a more intuitive idea of what it's doing to your actual extraction. I find that to be a really stupid thing. Of course, I always have it on, on distinctive, because that's gonna be, I wanna smell good coffee while drinking a strong cup. So whatever, I guess that's just me. I guess I'm weird that way. Going through the menu is pretty simple, all right? You hit classic, you hit coffee world, you pick your beverage, you hit it, you can change some of your options, start and go. It's fast, it's efficient, it's easy, with the exception that the screen is a little chunky and non-responsive. They should have just put a slightly faster processor in there, or maybe toned down the graphics to make things a little snappier. Cleaning this thing and maintaining it is pretty easy as well. You hit the little gear icon right here, it gives you a variety of different settings. Not going to go into all of those. This one does connect to Wi-Fi, which allows you to, make it a smart appliance for God only knows what reason. Right here, if you hit the little raindrop with the 3 different things, you have a variety of different cleaning options. These cleaning options are good, and they walk you through what you're trying to do very intuitively. So for example, if you do like the brew unit cleaning thing and you click that and you hit like start, it will run you through a variety of different steps, including a graphical image of removing the brew head unit and cleaning it on its own. So that is pretty clever. I do think KitchenAid still does it a little bit better, but nevertheless, it's good on this Bosch. And then the last one is this little double cup button right here. So what happens is if you click on, like, let's say coffee, and you hit the little double cup button, what it's assuming is that you're brewing 2 coffees underneath the unit like this, and it will adjust for a double shot, triple shot accordingly. So basically, a double shot's gonna end up being 4 shots. in theory, because you're brewing it into 2 different cups. That's gonna take a long ass time. And that's pretty much it. A lot of these super automatic coffee makers are coming out with user profiles. I don't know why they chose to not include that, especially since most people come in multi-person households and like to have different types of coffee. But then again, they also didn't give you the choice for a separate bean hopper either. Anyway, why shouldn't you buy it? Well, I feel like I was pretty clear there. The materials are cheap and plasticky. Nothing about it particularly feels good. By the way, you would think that this is like a heat tray right here. This thing produces no heat. So, you know, another reason to not understand why it's a $1,700 unit. It's big. It's clunky. The user interface is kind of slow. There is nothing that this thing does better than any of its competitors. And if anything, it does it worse. To warrant spending $1,700. It produces a good cup of coffee, but you can, you know, get a DeLonghi, a Breville, you got the KitchenAid series. There's so many different options out there that I think that you should choose from over this. I don't hate this machine. I just think it is disgustingly overpriced. But with that said, enough yapping. Let's try a cup of coffee.
Beautiful and so depressed. Colder than your father's eyes. He never learned to sympathize with anyone. But they could say the same about me. I sleep about 3 hours each night. Means only 21 a week now.
All right. Brewed a standard coffee drink. Piping hot. By the way, you can adjust the temperature of your brew as well, so that's nice. The aroma thing is gimmicky. Great crema. Absolutely fantastic crema. The aroma smells the same no matter what setting I put it on. Ooh. It brings out a lot more depth in the beans than the KitchenAid does, and frankly, even the DeLonghi and the Philips. If I had to pick a favorite in terms of coffee quality, it's going to be the Bosch. As much as I hate to say it, because I still think this thing is overpriced and not worth a fraction of what they're charging. By the way, the Siemens... The Siemens version of this is selling for $1,200, I believe. So like basically it's because it's Bosch, they bumped the price up an extra $500. I think that's ridiculous. But it's a good cup. I'd have no problem serving that at a party or drinking that all day long. Brewhead does slide up and down. It can allow for a cup of 4 feet tall. Good quality coffee, lackluster everything else, overpriced. Should you buy it? No. What else should you buy instead? If you want something semi-automatic, go with the Breville Oracle Touch. If you want something super automatic, go with the KitchenAid KF7, and maybe you'll get lucky and get a good one that works, unlike mine. There's also some of the Italian brands out there. I just wouldn't do DeLonghi. I had a lot of people disagree with me on the whole DeLonghi one, but I still would avoid that one too. Breville, KitchenAid, those are my choices. Maybe Jura, but I still have yet to test one of those out for full demo. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful in letting you decide whether or not you want to buy one of these for your loved ones on Christmas. We'll be back with another video really soon.